And I'm just going to introduce Des Moines Adams. I'm going to let him give all of his own credentials and information and share with you some great info on the power of positivity. So thank you, Des Moines, for joining us.
All right. And I want to thank everybody for joining. Again, my name is Des Moines Adams, and it's a great time to be positive. We're going to talk about the power of positivity, and what better way to start off than by saying, I just celebrated a birthday. So as you can see, this young man has come a long ways. Now, I'm bald by choice, just to let you know. I just turned 41, but very, very humbled, grateful, truly blessed to see another birthday. And so a lot of positivity, a lot of celebration for just celebrating my 41st birthday. Again, Des Moines, like the city, Iowa, but I'm not from the city of Iowa. I'm originally from Pine Bluff, Arkansas. I was very fortunate to get a scholarship to attend the University of Nebraska Lincoln, which is where I played football for the Nebraska Huskers. I was a 3-year starting defensive end, led the team in sacks. We won a conference championship, went to the Rose Bowl National Championship. Afterwards, played a little football in the Canadian Football League with the Edmonton Eskimos. And then I came back to the States and played with the Green Bay Packers, Tennessee Titans, and the San Francisco 49ers. And one day the dream stopped loving me. So I had to get a real job, but I'm thankful that I received 2 degrees throughout that time, chasing that dream. And here I am today, a professional. And I'm currently working at the University of Nebraska Foundation while being a motivational speaker. But throughout this time, which, there will be a point where we'd like to have some conversation around the power of positivity. I don't want you to refer to me as Des Moines. I want you to refer to me by my cool name, because as people get older, they have to try to find ways to be cool. And so I want you to refer to me as Demo. And so hopefully, fingers crossed, in the future, when we are back face to face at some of our upcoming conferences, hopefully in 2022, you will be able to say, "What's up, Demo?" in person. So right now, I just want to just set the stage with this quote that says, once you see where you're going, everything you do must correspond with where you're going. Now, of course, we've been hit with some bad news. It's kind of like the game of football where we've been tackled with discouraging results. We've been knocked down with things that are out of our control. But for the most part, we've been resilient, and we've been trying to do all that we can to move forward. But there's one thing that can help us to continue to move forward in spite of the bad news, and that's positivity. And I truly believe that if we see ourselves moving forward, then the things that we must do must correspond with where we're going. And I believe it starts with our attitude. And having a positive attitude, I think, would definitely get us to that place, but it also keep us moving forward. Now, hate to take us back, but I do just want to point out that there were some good things that happened, from 2020 up until now. If you're a Chiefs fan, just like Shonda, she was probably excited that they won the championship in January 2020. Fell short January 2021, but let's not talk about that. During the pandemic, for a lot of us, we were forced to finish school via Zoom, um, many changes, masks, all of those things. But all of that time spent at the house, we learned a lot about other ways of watching TV shows and movies and Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Max. I mean, all of these things, it just really, really, I know for me, I got sucked into Disney Plus, 3 months for free first, first 3 months for free. And next thing you know, I started getting charged. But I'm a big Marvel fan. And so when they put all of those Marvel movies on, I had to jump on. But also, we found a way to still be face to face, even though not in person. But look what we're doing today. We have students that are on this call that live in different time zones. And even though This is not a conference, so to speak, but yet we are still connecting. And that's the power of Americans being resilient. But also something else that I thought was cool was this thing called TikTok. My son, he's 10, and he wanted me to do a TikTok with him. And there was a real popular TikTok by Jason Derulo, Savage Love. And so I'm not going to tell you his name because you all may try to find it and try to criticize or try to critique my skills, my rhythm. But as I said, just because I'm 41 doesn't mean that I've lost it. I still got it. But all of these cool things somewhat got our attention. It gave us a sense of excitement. It kept us engaged. It gave us this sense of hope. And I think that's really, really the one word that I want to start with. And the one word that I'm going to close with is, in spite of what we're going through, the one thing that we're all looking for is this thing called hope. And what better way to get hope is by being positive and just learning and understanding the power of positivity will help us to also be able to accept the reality that we are in. The reality that also from 2020 up until now, we become followers of everything that we see, read, and hear. And as a result, for a lot of us, we found ourselves being anxious and angry. We know people that are anxious and angry, and it's caused us to somewhat be socially disconnected and divided because of COVID, because of the social and racial injustice, and because of the politics and the election that we just experienced in the fall. And now it's like we're going through a cycle. We're back to facing COVID. There's still some social and racial unrest. And these things somewhat get in the way of us trying to move forward when there's so much negativity, when there's so much hate. And hate is a strong word, but there are a lot of people that when you have people that are angry, when you have things that are out of one's control, when you have so much division, and I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, it seems like it's become the norm, so to speak. Seems like this is the way. Kind of like, for me, when I just am learning how to play golf. Being a former football player, I figured with all this time, and if we're forced to be socially distanced in a sense, I might as well go out, get some golf clubs, and learn this new game. If Happy Gilmore can do it by transitioning hockey into the game of golf, how come this football player can do it? But unfortunately, it was a tough game. It is a tough game to make this transition simply because I'm learning. I have to recondition and retrain myself to use my muscles in a different way. You would think this tiny little ball, you can just hit it like a baseball, but it doesn't work that way. It's not that easy. You would think because I still have just a few muscles from football that I would go out there and I can hit the ball 200, 300 yards, but you will be disappointed to see my swing, especially if I'm trying to hit it as hard as I can, because it has nothing to do with my upper body. It has more to do with my lower body, my hips. I have to activate and I have to practice and use different muscles in a different way. And it feels somewhat very unnatural. But the more that I practice at reconditioning, retraining new muscles while not using certain muscles that were normal, eventually these new muscles, this new muscle memory is beginning to become the norm. And I think for a lot of us, if we think about what we've been going through, what we've been hit with, kind of feels like we've been tackled. We've been tackled with bad news. We've been hit with discouraging results. We continue to be knocked down with things that are out of our control. And it just makes me think of my time when I played at Nebraska. That was my job, was to keep people from getting to their goal. And we all have this goal of getting back to normal, but for some reason, the news and this new variant and people continue to get discriminated against. And is it political or is it simply a public health issue? It's like we continue to get hit, knocked down, and it doesn't feel like we're making any progress. Well, one of the things I learned about the game of football is this: no matter how many times I would sack that quarterback, no matter how many times I would hit that player who had the football, knock the ball out of their hands, push them back to where they lose yardage, they will continue to get back up. They found a way to recover. They found a way to adapt to the change and keep moving forward, not moving backwards. And I truly believe that we all have a game to play each and every day, and that game is called life. And I think there is a strong correlation between football and life because we too must learn how to take hits and understand that that's a part of the game of life. We're going to get knocked down. We're going to get bad news. Sometimes we will feel like quitting. But just because we feel like giving in, give it up, and giving out doesn't mean that we give up. Because sometimes when the going gets tough, that's when we get tougher. No matter how many times we get hit, no matter how much bad news we get. So really moving forward, we got to ask ourselves these questions. From 2020 up until now, how do we recover? Maybe that's why some of you joined this particular workshop, is to figure out, is it possible to be positive in spite of the negativity? How do I cope with all of these feelings of uncertainty, especially when college is getting ready to start for me? How do I get the right focus back when I'm so distracted? Most importantly, how do we get engaged again? And I want to help you by answering that question with this model right here. Most of you, some of you may be familiar with growth mindset. And growth mindset is simply the continuation. It's that sense of being positive, is that sense of finding opportunities in spite of the obstacles. But based on everything that we've been hit with, the things that we're going through, it's easy to have a fixed mindset. It's easy to focus on everything that has happened. And when you have a fixed mindset, it's kind of like putting a period. For those of you that like English, English was my favorite subject, by the way. When you put a period at the end of a sentence, it means something. It means that that's it. You can't get no more, no further than that period. That's the end that limits you. And for a lot of people right now, they have put a period in their life. They see no hope. They don't see things getting better. And so what do? Well, I've given you some examples. They are frustrated. It's easy to quit. It's easy to give up. It's easy to be negative. Why should I continue to be positive when there's so much negativity? Why should I be certain that things are going to get better when everything is uncertain? But keep in mind that there are also periods, but there are also commas. And we all know what a comma means, right? A comma means that there's this continuation. There may be a pause, but there's more to come. And when we have a growth mindset, that helps us not to focus so much on what has happened and keep us down and feeling down, but having a growth mindset helps us to focus on what happens now, to recover, to bounce back, to get back up. Because when the going gets tough, that's when we get tougher. And it all starts with our attitude. It all starts with our mindset, with a growth mindset, hoping, believing that things will get better because actions will always follow your beliefs. So which one will you choose to have? Will you choose to have a growth mindset, or will you continue to have a fixed mindset? Will you allow your friends, your family, and the people that are around you to have this fixed mindset? Because we're trying to move forward, but we cannot move forward with a negative attitude. We cannot move forward if we put periods each and every time we get hit. We must treat life just like the game of football, and we must be able to take the hits and get back up and have a growth mindset, knowing that things are not great yet. Because we may hear a lot of people saying things are not great, things are not good, but a growth mindset would say things are not good yet, things are not great yet. That's that comma, yet. And I believe that is the power of positivity. And so, of course, just so you can get one definition, most of the time I like to give multiple definitions, but one easy definition and one word I want to highlight: the practice of being, or the tendency to be positive or optimistic in attitude. But I want you to remember the word practice, because as we go through these next couple of slides, and I really would love to have some conversation, hear more about how you're coping with your feelings, get your thoughts on ways that you are choosing to be positive. Because remember this: your attitude is your choice. So let's talk about the power of positivity. As I mentioned, I made a transition from football to being this young man. It felt a little unnatural at first, going from one uniform to this new uniform of dressing up. But the more I practiced it, the more it became natural, just like the game of golf. What was unnatural, by me reconditioning and retraining myself to use other muscles, so far, so good. And that is what we need to understand, that positivity is something not that we feel, but it's something that we must practice. We must put it into practice, and we must practice having a positive attitude. Now, what does this practice look like? Well, it starts with, what you're putting in, what you're feeding yourself in terms of the things that you see, the things that you read, the things that you hear, because we get out what we put in. And I know for a lot of us, we are stuck to our phones. I get it. That's the way of life. It's a way of communicating. It's a way of staying connected. It's a way of staying in the know and knowing what's trending. And sometimes it's fun. Sometimes there are a lot of memes that just make us laugh. I get it. It's just a thing. I'm on social media, but I'm on social media for a different reason. Not to comment on every single thing that I see, not to follow every single popular thing that is trending. But if you were to find me on social media, you're going to see nothing but positivity, quotes that provide hope and motivation and inspiration. You would notice I don't follow a lot of people, I don't follow a lot of things. I'm simply on social media to use my role to be a role model, because either you're a role model or you're a role follower. And unfortunately, 2020 up until now, a lot of people have become role followers. And a lot of people think that it's normal to be negative. We have a lot of people that are very pessimistic because of what we've been going through. There's a lot of division, a lot of rude comments, disrespectful, inappropriate things that people are okay with. This has become our norm. And if we continue to read and feed into these things, eventually we will get out what we put in. We will begin to act out negativity. We will begin to act out everything that we think is okay, because we internalize it. What we see is what we get, and sometimes what we get is what we do. So we have to be very careful about everything that we're seeing, everything that we're reading, everything that we're hearing. You know, detox. I try to be healthy as I'm getting older. I can't eat all of the barbecue and the fried chicken and all of that stuff. I love it. But sometimes I may have to go through this detox phase to just really stay away from certain things and get certain things out of my system. You may want to ask yourself, if you're feeling angry, if you're feeling pessimistic, if you're feeling a certain way, what types of things are you reading? What types of things are you following? What types of things do you focus on a daily basis? Because what you see is what you get. And we model what we follow. So if you were really honest with yourself, what are you following? Who are you following? And why are you following those things or people? I get it. We want to stay in the know. And sometimes it's important for us to know what's going on. But if it's making us feel a certain way, if it's making us feel angry and negative and rude to other people, just because it seems normal doesn't mean that it's right. Just because it may be popular, just because it may be the norm, doesn't mean it has to be your normal. And that's what Delta Sig is trying to do. We're trying to make sure that you understand that there is power in positivity, but it's something that we must choose. Our attitude is our choice. And I truly believe that we can still be civil. There is a such thing as being able to still treat others with respect, even when we don't agree. That's what it means to be civil. And as an organization that is trying to get you ready and set for the future, this is one thing that will help you to be career ready, is to understand the value of being civil. There will be times when you will not agree. But just to give you some examples, things have gotten a little bit out of hand. Everything seems to be black versus white, or police versus protesters, or Democrat versus Republican, wearing masks versus wearing no masks, vaccinated versus unvaccinated. And this has become the American way. We are so divided, we are so disconnected to where if we find out someone stands on the other side, we tend to treat them a certain way. We tend to be rude. We tend to be negative. We tend to label them. And is that really the American way? It may seem normal, but we do not want that to be the Delta Sig way, especially when we are trying to develop leaders, not followers. We're trying to produce role models, not role followers. And this is why the power of positivity should become the Delta Sig way, even though the American way, they may not believe in positivity right now. But let me help you to understand what it means. It's not something that we try to be, it's something that we must choose to be. You can still be positive even when others are negative. You can still be positive even when things are uncertain. It is a choice, it is an attitude, it is simply a responsibility that we must choose every single day when we look in a mirror at ourselves. I know there is no I in team, but I do believe that there is an I in win, because the competition, our opponent, is not necessarily those individuals that may not believe what we believe in, or maybe their values may be different. Our competition is not against other people, not against other races, not against other sides. The competition is really your attitude. It's you versus you every single day, because you have to compete against this right here. Will I give my best effort today, or will I give my best excuse? Will I choose to be positive today, or will I choose to be negative today? Will I treat others with kindness, or will I treat others with disrespect? Will I choose to get by, or will I choose to get better? You have a choice every day. Who's going to win? Will you allow positivity to win, or will you allow negativity to win? It starts with your attitude, and it starts with what you put in. You get out what you put in. And by being a part of this workshop, we're trying to put in this hope, this ideal that it is possible to be positive, but it's your choice, because we win or lose by how we choose. If we truly want to move forward and get back to face, get back to celebrating, get back to dancing, get back to having some fun, then the only way that we're going to win is by having a positive attitude. But if we choose to be negative, if we choose to be mean and rude and unkind and think that it's okay to be opinionated and put others down instead of lifting others up, we will never move forward. We will lose based on our attitude, our choice. We win or lose by how we choose. Every single day, you have a choice to make. And that choice always starts with you. Best effort or our best excuse. And I don't believe in excuses, but I do believe in being positive, even though things are telling us to be negative. So, our last family vacation was to Orlando, Florida, about 2 years ago. And we were very lucky to get back to Florida um, as of last month. But my wife and I learned a lesson while we were in Florida 2 years ago, because as you can see, the sky looks blue and the water's blue. It's the first time the kids were able to see the ocean. Now, the day didn't start off like this. The day started off with the sky being full of clouds. Weather forecast said that there was a 25% chance of rain. And so my wife wasn't so sure that we should go to the beach, but I was optimistic, I was confident, and I said, you know what? Let's give it a shot. Let's go to the beach. And so we're driving, and she's looking things up, other things and to do, just in case it starts pouring, and so the kids don't get disappointed because they're expecting to go swimming. They're expecting to see the beach. And she does not want to be next to water if it's going to be thunder and lightning. So I'm telling her, babe, it's okay. Once we get there, I think the weather will be better. But she's still nervous. She's looking at that 25% chance of rain. She's looking at the clouds, and it doesn't appear that the sun is nowhere to be found. I said, babe, everything is okay. And so, she's telling me to exit here, we can go here, exit here, and I keep moving forward. And, she's getting a little upset at me. So finally, I told her, I understand that there's a 25% chance of rain, but doesn't it also mean that there's a 75% chance of sunshine? So as you can see, look who won that argument. Yeah, the 75%. And of course, I had to take a picture to show that I'm a winner. But we all make that mistake when it comes to the weather, but also when it comes to life. We tend to hold on to the 25% of things, whether it's the negatives, the weaknesses, the inabilities, whether it's in life or whether it's even the things about ourselves. For some reason, it seems to be natural for us to focus more on the things that are wrong with ourselves, our weaknesses, things that we can't do. Now, I want to talk to you as students. As you get ready for school, we all have 25%. Maybe some of us have one or two, but we all have a 25% chance of failing. I want to put that in reality. There's a chance that we all may fail based on our weakness, things that we don't have, things that are out of our control. But if there's a 25% chance that we will all fail, I believe that there's a 75% chance that we can succeed as well. And so I want to share this as you get ready to start school, that as a student, sometimes it's pretty natural for us to focus on what's wrong with us, and it's somewhat unnatural for us to focus on the things that are right about us, to have confidence, to have courage. I want to challenge you. Give yourself a chance by choosing to focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses. If you want to win, choose to focus on the things that you can do, not what you can't do, the things that are right about you, not the things that are wrong with you. Give yourself a chance by doing the things that you have control over versus the things that you don't. Because how can you be successful in the classroom if you're too busy focusing on what's wrong with you and your weaknesses? It's not going to happen. You win or lose by how you choose. Choose to focus on your 75% as a student. But as we continue to go through this uncertain time, we must choose to focus on what makes us strong instead of what makes us weak as Delta Sig. And I say Delta Sig, not America, because right now the American way is about being negative. It's about being rude. It's about whether it's political or this is racial. And how will we ever be unified if all we do is focus on what divides us? We must focus on what can go right so we can move forward. Because if we focus on what can go wrong, we're going to have that fixed mindset. And the things that we can control, what brings us together. And what brings us together is love. And I'm not talking about that Hollywood love and, some Netflix show that came on that was pretty popular. I'm drawing a blank. Something about Bridgerton. For those of you that have seen it, that's not the love that I'm talking about. The love that I'm referring to is agape love. You see, agape love is this unconditional way of treating others, that there may not be a return, but we love one another in spite of the actions of others, the mistakes of others, the things that are out of our control. It helps us to be the bigger people. And I truly believe that what makes us the bigger person is to be the better person. And to be the better person, it starts with our attitude. And once we choose positivity versus negativity, that gives us the power of producing hope. And this is what everyone is looking for. What if you were to use your role to be a role model of hope? By you giving hope, you give this expectation for a certain thing to happen, something positive, something good. Just what if? Just what if Delta Sig stood for hope? And people will look at this organization as an organization that they can lean on, they could go to, whether you meet on every Monday night or whether you meet on a certain day. When the fraternity members come together, they know they're going to get a shot of positivity. They know that they are going to fill their buckets up with the things that will help them to succeed, not fail, things that will give them that growth mindset, not that fixed mindset. I think it's possible. And I think it's possible because, a lot of educators use this model when it comes to this social and emotional learning. We are learning and gathering so much information. It's affecting the way that we feel. How do we control the way that we feel? Well, social and emotional learning, it helps us to have this self-awareness and social awareness to be able to manage our emotions. you know, Emotional intelligence, which that's coming up, one of my workshops. I don't want to give up too much information, but it has a lot to do with your EQ instead of your IQ. You can have all A's and you can have a 4.0 and you can have a 34 on the ACT. You can get your degree, but if you don't know how to manage your emotions, if you don't know how to solve a problem, deal with conflict, be able to communicate and be inclusive. Your degree may get you into the door, but your lack of emotional intelligence, your lack of having this social and emotional learning skill will not keep you in the door. This is something that we must practice. Positivity is something we must practice so we can be able to manage our emotions and choose to have a positive attitude. But this is a nice model. And again, I'm happy to share this model, but look it up, social and emotional learning. Teachers use this on kids all of the time, especially those elementary kids when they get all emotional when, they don't get something right the first time or when things don't go their way, they get emotional. So they learned how to use this as a way of helping students to manage those feelings and express them in a positive, proactive, and productive way. I believe that sometimes that kid can sneak out of us those emotions of feeling anxious or angry, feeling somewhat depressed or down or sad. We must be able to find a way to adapt, to be resilient, and use positivity to empower not just ourselves, but each other. Which takes me to my closer. Told you I was a big Marvel fan, and what better way to close than to show this powerful picture of all of these superheroes? You know, for those of you that like Marvel, and maybe you don't really keep up with all of the Marvel superheroes, but Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, Black Panther, Spider-Man, they all have their own superheroes. Own superhero movies. Ant-Man, Black Widow, they all have their own movie because they all have their own unique gifts and talents and strengths. So you would think, why would they need to be in a movie with other superheroes when they all have this power to do things by themselves? Well, in these Avenger movies, and would love for you, I endorse and encourage you to check out these Avengers movies because there's one particular Avenger movie called The Endgame. When they all came together, they brought together their strengths, their talents, their skills. And when they came together, they were stronger together, especially when there's a bigger cause, when there's a bigger need that needs a bigger attention. And they brought all of those skills together. They put aside their egos. They put aside their differences. The fact that I have this skill and you have this skill. Oh, you think you're better than me. Oh, well, you think just because you're this. They put aside those things simply so that they could use their role to be a role model of hope. So regardless of who's super, regardless of one's superpower, what really makes them super is when they came together, they became stronger together. That is the sign of hope. And if we can take this same picture as a Delta Sig, think of how powerful this organization can be across this entire world. When we bring together our talents, our skills, the love that we need to show, the positivity that we must model. Just think when people that are not in this organization, think of the hope that we can give others. Think of the hope that we can give each other. It starts with us. But most importantly, we are calling each and every Delta Sig student to become leaders, not followers. We are training and equipping all Delta Sig students to be role models, not role followers. We never want you to have this attitude to get by. We want to challenge you always to get better, to take advantage of opportunities and tools and resources so you can be career ready. And what better way to be career ready than to be able to practice the power of positivity? Because your attitude is your choice, and it is an everyday grind. Because every day you wake up, you have to make the choice to be positive, in spite of the negatives, in spite of those that are choosing to live their life the American way. I understand that there's a lot that we see, read, and hear, but I want to encourage you, detox, especially as you get ready to start school. You're not missing out on a lot of things. Continue to stay connected to Delta Sig, the resources, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you are on social media, make sure you stay connected to this resource, because this resource will help you to be a resource so you can stay in the game and be resilient and be winners in this game called life. So now I want to open it up to a few questions, and all of you should have a comment box. Very own Shonda is going to read out some questions, or if you would love to comment, if you would love to share, we're all a family here. We'll be happy to answer any questions, clarify anything that I just shared. But I wanted to keep this very, very simple, because it is that simple. We win or lose by how we choose. Our attitude is our choice. It's not something that we try to be. It's something that we must choose to be when it comes to being positive. But what questions do some of you all have? Or even thoughts or comments?
We just got a comment in. Thank you so much for the great words of wisdom. This was a much needed session for me. Loved the comma meaning and the Delta Sig's role model of hope. Thank you again. That was very nice.
You're welcome.
Any other comments or questions? And if you'd rather not type it in, if you want to just turn your audio on, that's fine. We've got a small enough group here. We can manage that. Great presentation in Des Moines. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yep.
Hi, Nicholas.
We got a face. There we go.
Yeah, great information. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Now, is that your university in the background?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's the. Oh, go ahead.
And what university do you attend?
University of Denver.
All right, all right. Was looking pretty good. And when does school start for you?
It starts kind of, I think, the 13th of September.
13th of September. Wow. So you still got a lot of time to enjoy the summer.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining all the way from Denver, Colorado. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I saw a comment.
Another comment. Thank you for the reminder that your attitude is your choice. That's, I think, a strong reminder for all of us.
Thank you.
Great. Any other questions? And certainly Des Moines has his information, or Demo, I'm going to have to try to work on that, has his info on this slide. So if you do have some questions or comments after the fact, I'm sure he would welcome those.
See, it looks like Andrew has his face on. Andrew, looks like you're coming from Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yep, Cincinnati, Ohio, Cincinnati Alumni Chapter.
All right, all right. Well, hey, what questions or comments do you have?
Well, yeah, I guess it's kind of both. I think one of the most challenging things, like as a leader or really just participating in any organization, is while I tend to try my best to bring a positive attitude, there are often those people who are just a catalyst for negative energy. So I was just curious if you could maybe comment on how you have find the strength or stamina to continue to bring positivity to environments that at times could be perceived as toxic because of what the energy that other people bring to those environments.
You know, that's a great question. And I think that last picture that I shared with all of those superheroes coming together, when we come together with other positive people, we're stronger together. From experience being an African-American male, especially with everything that we I guess for African Americans have gone through for many centuries, but particularly this last year, had every reason to be mad, upset, angry, and just down. But I could have chosen to go that route, but with the help of other positive people, positive African Americans, positive Hispanic Americans, positive white Americans, that allowed me to be able to not let the worst get the best out of me. And so for me, it's an everyday thing to where I have to make sure that I stay connected to the right people that can help me to make the right choices and to help me to be positive. I can't do this thing by myself. And so again, just using that as an example, especially every day when I walk around as a 6'3", 235 large Black man, it's easy to, get stereotyped and to get labeled that I'm angry and that, I can hurt someone. But I choose to understand that those are going to be hits that are going to come whether I wear a suit or whether I wear an Under Armour shirt. So I've learned how to take those hits, and I've learned how to be the prototype, hopefully by helping others not to have that stereotype. And it's taken me a while to get here. It's taken me a while to be able to take those hits, because I would love for people to get to know my heart instead of judging me based on my skin. But by having and surrounding myself around the right people, positive people, people that are reminding me of the importance of having character, of also helping others to understand, who I really am, not based on my skin, but based on my heart. That's what makes me a better person, is by being around better people. They say iron sharpens iron, and I truly believe that we have a lot of iron in the Delta Sig chapter. I would encourage you to keep allowing other individuals in this fraternity to sharpen you, because we all have a choice. And I can tell you, not a lot of people are trying to sharpen others. They may cut you, but they may cut you to make you angry, but rely on those other positive people. We all have every reason to be upset and negative and uncertain, but that's just the 25%. We still have a chance. And if there's still a chance, let's choose our attitude with people who also have a positive attitude.
Great. Thanks, Des Moines. And thanks for the question, Andrew.
That's great. Thanks.
Molly, I see you joined us. Did you have a question or comment?
I just want to say thank you, because work has been very stressful recently. So I've needed this. I actually work in college athletics. So it is a very stressful time right now. Unfortunately, I'm at one of your competing schools.
And
I'm at Wisconsin.
Oh, and we come to Wisconsin this year, right?
Yes.
Hey, it's all good. And hey, we both like the same color, red, right?
Red, yes.
But our favorite color is purple and gold, right? Those are our favorite colors.
It's hard sometimes because that's Vikings.
Well, you tell people that it's not the Vikings, it's Delta Sig colors.
Yeah. But I've needed this just because with how stressful work's been and so much going on and hearing negativity from a coworker, it's just like you got to think positive in what you can get done.
It's funny that just a quick stat, and I know time is running up, research from Gallup Institute, studies show that it takes one negative person to influence 7 positive people to become negative. One negative person that can impact 7 positive people. But if we were to flip that, it's going to take 7 positive people simply to influence 1 negative person. So that may seem like negativity is more powerful than positivity, but the power of positivity, when we work together as a team, will be the only way that we can defeat negativity. So it's going to take 7 positive people to impact 1 negative person. And so if you can surround yourself around other positive people, that's the only way that you're going to stay positive, because 1 negative person can really make you feel down. It will make you lose hope. So I get it. And yeah, anytime I go to social media, you know, I try to scroll, look at some good things, and then there's something political, or there's something racial, or there's something about vaccinations and unvaccinated. And it's like everything is just, it only makes us feel a certain way. So we have to take ownership of our feelings by taking ownership of what we see, what we read, what we hear, even the people. You know, sometimes we need to detox some people. We need to unfollow some people. We need to say, I'm blocking you because I need to guard my energy. So definitely it's an everyday challenge, and challenges will continue to happen. COVID is continuing to happen, but we must condition ourselves to take the hits. It may feel unnatural. It may not be the normal thing to be positive when everyone else wants to be negative, but you have to want to be positive. I want to be positive. That's why I'm truly grateful and humbled to be able to talk to all of you tonight about the power of positivity, because I want to be positive, and I want so many other people to do the same, because I know it's going to take a team of us to impact those that are negative and think that the American way is the normal way. But we're going to give them the Delta Sig way, and that's positivity.
That's great. Thanks, Des Moines, and Molly. Thanks for sharing. One more note came in through the chat. Great session, a keeper for many down the road. I was a little worried about the Bridgerton stuff.
Hey, I just thought that, you know, I would clarify love, because some people correlate love to Bridgerton, and I know that was like the #1 Netflix movie, but it's not about that kind of love.
Someday when someone does the biography about you and they pull the sound clip kissing on our video, yeah, we'll know where that came from. Well, any final comments or questions for Des Moines this evening?
This is Bill. I just want to say thank you. That was great, and something that I needed too today.
Yeah.
And it's always good to hear and see your smooth delivery. You're doing us up proud.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Bill.
And some final words just came in. Great talk, very positive. I wrote down a few of your tips and reminders. So I think you definitely resonated with everybody on this call this evening, and we will get this posted to Delta Sig University so that hopefully more Delta Sigs will take advantage of watching and learning from your great message. And we look forward to having you back in a couple of months with another topic. So keep an eye on the calendar, everybody, for that. We will send a survey out tomorrow on this. Pardon me. Please fill that out when you have a moment. And lots of other great webinars coming up. So please get registered, and we look forward to seeing you again very soon. Again, Des Moines, thank you so much for your time tonight. We really appreciate it.
No, thank you. And good luck with the start of the school year. And hey, we can do it. We got this. We're in it to win it. We got this.
Absolutely.